Hey guys, welcome to the Confidence Nugget, where we get real about confidence. My name is Christen, and I'm not sure I can even hold in my excitement because today I am in Knoxville, Tennessee at the University of Tennessee, which is my alma mater. I swam here 1993 to 97, which I know a lot of you out there watching weren't born yet. But nonetheless, my blood definitely runs orange. This place will always have my heart. I am a VFL, a Vol for Life. And I am so beyond excited to be here with another VFL, Erika Brown.
Hi.
We are so excited to have you on the show. I'm so excited for you guys out there to get to know Erika better. I don't even want to waste time talking. I just want to get right into your story. So let's just go right in. Why don't you, those that are out there that don't know your story, don't know a whole lot about you, why don't you go ahead and let them know?
Yeah, so I was born in California. I lived there for 8 years. So when I was 8 years old, we moved to Wichita, Kansas. And that's actually where I started swimming. I tried out a lot of different sports and just didn't really find anything that clicked. But when I found swimming, I really loved it. I clicked. So I started swimming when I was 9, and I lived there for 3 more years, so till I was 12. And when I was 12, we moved back to California. And that is when I started to do really well in swimming. I lived in Ripon, California, and swam there for about a year. And then I moved to Pleasanton Aquatics with Steve Morsilli. And that is where I really started to excel. And he really trained me hard, taught me some good lessons, and that's where I kind of found my love of swimming. But then when I was 16, my dad got a new job, so we moved to North Carolina. And that's when I swam for SwimMac, and that's how we met.
Yeah.
And there, I was a junior and senior in high school, and something started to kind of slip with my swimming. I just wasn't as focused, and I wasn't as happy. But going into college, I knew I wanted somewhere that was going to feel like home, because I'm a homebody.
Home sweet home.
Yeah. And then also somewhere that would challenge me to be really good and be the best I could be, because that's something I've always wanted and my parents have always instilled in me, is that like I can be anything I want to be.
Yeah.
So I just really needed that challenge, and the University of Tennessee was that for me, and so I committed here, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, so I mean, were you, when you came on your trip, were you like, this is it, or you have to really think things through? What was that decision like?
Yeah, so I actually wasn't even looking here. I was looking at other schools.
Oh, okay.
And Matt had come to look at one of my teammates and watch her practice, and he had talked to me at that practice. And so I said, well, okay, I'll come on a trip here. I'll make it my first trip to get out of the way, and then I'll focus on the other ones. I came here, and I wanted to cancel all my other trips.
Really?
Yeah, I ended up going on one more to make sure, but then I canceled the rest. I knew it was home. Just everything about it. There's a family environment. You're always challenged to be better. People are going to hold you to high standards, and I loved that. So,
yeah, that's so cool. So Matt wasn't even there to see you, and he lucked out, right? Yeah, what a blessing that the Lady Vols got her.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So let's talk about things, because you are a senior now, so you're 4th year. So those of you out there that may not know, her freshman year when she got here, she didn't even qualify for NCAAs in an individual event. It was in a relay, right?
That's right.
And went to NCAAs. And then her sophomore year, not only does she qualify for individual events at NCAAs, but she gets second in the 50 free and the 100 fly. What in the world? How do you go from, I mean, because you were good. You made NCAAs in a relay. That's awesome. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's how I'm an All-American. But like, then to make it into, you know, in the individual events, and then make top 8 and then get silver. I mean, come on, talk to me about that. What was that all about?
Yeah, so after my freshman year, I came away. I was really struggling that year. I was not happy.
Okay.
I was not happy with my swimming, but also just myself. I had to figure out what I wanted to do. I wasn't even sure if I was going to come back to school because I was that homesick.
Okay.
But I knew that I had so much opportunity here and I had so many blessings, and I had to really take a step back and look at it and figure out how I was going to get better and what was going to change. And for me, that was looking at all my blessings. Like, I'm very spiritual, and I believe, like, God put me here for a reason, and I need to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I had to go home and really evaluate what I was doing.
Was this in the summer?
In the summer,
okay.
Yeah. I went home that summer. So I went home, and I have the best parents, the best sisters. They helped me out a lot. But I had to really look and evaluate everything. I had to say, you know what, I have all these opportunities, I have all these blessings, I need to give my all to that. I realized that I was giving into a lot of negativity in my head, the negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I figured out a way to get rid of those, almost, like make them very small by replacing them with positive thoughts, positive affirmations. And it's not easy.
Of
I have
course.
to, you know, it's a struggle every day, but when you look at everything you have, instead of the negatives, it makes it a lot easier.
So that's what you did this summer. You kind of refocused not on the negatives, but the positives.
Right.
And so you came in sophomore year, and just had a completely different mindset. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I just decided that I was going to be the best in whatever I did. I wanted to be the best for my teammates, for myself, my mental health. But I had to get up every single day and look at myself in the mirror and say, like, I'm going to have the best day today. If I'm feeling tired, I'm not feeling tired. I'm feeling strong. And it's constant throughout the day, just lifting yourself up.
Yeah.
So I had to take a day by day and find all those little pieces to help put that together.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just an immediate flip.
Of course.
But it took a lot of work.
Yeah. So talk to me about, because obviously, you know, it's going to affect every part of your life. Let's specifically talk about training.
Yeah.
Because you've always been a hard worker. I do know that about you. But talk to me, because how does that mindset change? How did it change your training? And really, you know, how on those days, because when everything's going well, it's really easy to get to practice. I've said this a million times. You know, it's really easy to love the sport. But here you are coming off, you know, a disappointing freshman year, just not, you know, really happy. I mean, yes, of course, it affects every part of your life, but specifically training, what had to change?
Well, I think I had figured out that I had a pattern of going into training a little bit scared. Afraid of what was going to happen if I was going to mess up, if I wasn't going to do...
What if? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I just really had to look at that and say, I mean, who cares? I'm going to go into this practice and I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm going to have a focus. I'm going to motivate my teammates. I know I'm going to get that back.
Yeah.
I had to look at all the things I had to be grateful for instead of the negatives.
Sure.
So ever since I started doing that, it's just built upon itself. So every training session gets better and better, and once you have that mindset, it becomes a habit.
Yeah. So let me ask you, those what ifs going through your mind, are really worried about messing up in practice. That leads to dreading practice. Is that where you kind of dreading practices?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
When you hold yourself to such a high standard, right? I think I mentioned before about Elizabeth Beisel, you know, her saying, actually it was in the last video, how she said that the reason she lasted so long in the sport is because she learned to give herself grace. And she understood that her best was going to look different on different days. And there were going to be days that she went in and her best was amazing, and there were going to be days that her best was getting through it and going home.
Yeah.
Is that kind of...
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I think, you only have control over your emotions, and you can only do the best you can for that day. So if I have a practice and it doesn't go perfectly the way I expected, that's okay. You can find something that you got out of it, and you can always learn from it.
Sure.
And that is the most important thing.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, love all this stuff. And let me also say, one thing that I always have to remind athletes when I'm working with them is there's no such thing as 110%. Like, coaches love to say it, give me 110%. There's no such thing. All you can do is give 100%. Like,
Right.
That's it. Like, that's the highest you can go. And if you are giving 100%, you can walk away proud.
Right.
Huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was sophomore year, really changing the mindset, started doing some ridiculously amazing things. Then junior year, last year, what I didn't mention is last year she was co-SEC swimmer of the year. That's how well she did. A bajillion time All-American, a bajillion time SEC gold medalist. Let's talk about junior year. Because not only were you having success, but you were having fun. I could totally tell that.
Yeah. Junior year, I finally felt like I could prove to myself, not even other people, because I don't think that matters, but to yourself that, you can set out to do something and do it. You can accomplish anything you want to do, and you just have to find complete control over your mind and the way you perceive situations. So that junior year was just putting all those things into practice for me and having it become my normal. And every day I get to swim, I just become more and more grateful.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the cool part is like she said in the beginning, doing the work is hard, right? But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. And then suddenly you have this mindset. Not that the fears aren't there, not that the doubts aren't there, but you learn how to handle them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it makes you love the sport even more.
Ah, yes. Because we have a lot of athletes out there that are hating their sport.
Yeah.
And dreading practices, and it's just not fun. So that is, what a blessing that you figured it out, that you are not only, having success, but you're loving it too. That's huge.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm sure not loving it every single day.
Yeah.
Let's be, we're getting real about confidence.
Yeah.
It's not an everyday, and there are days you have to work a little bit harder, obviously, but yeah, I love it. So you've gotten so much better.
Thank you.
You have totally taken off. You are doing all these things, amazing things in college, but also this summer, she's the U.S. national champion in the 100 free. What else?
The 50 free.
Wait,
I got second in the 100 free.
I'm sorry, 50 free. And second in the 100 free, and you are on the national team for the first time?
The first time.
First ever U.S. national team. What a year to do it, right?
Yeah,
Before
I
the
know.
Olympic year, right? So we all know as you get better, there comes more pressure, right? Everybody thinks it's really, really fun to be the best. And not to say it isn't, there aren't fun moments and there aren't great perks, but you have a pressure, that can be overwhelming. So talk to me about how you have handled the pressure as you've gotten better.
Yeah, so I think at first, right after my first SECs, going into NCAAs, that was tough because I've really never had to experience that kind of pressure. But as I've gotten more experience and the more I've swum, I've realized that, pressure, it may be from an outside source, but the way you interpret it is in your control. So I don't swim for, other people to tell me good job. I swim because I love it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people think, what they expect. All that matters is what I want out of it.
Okay.
So that's how I view it.
Yeah, that's huge. And so talk to me also about, you've learned how to handle other people's expectations, but what about your own expectations? If you were brought up in a family where, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it, because obviously you have expectations for yourself. How do you handle that as well?
Yeah, I think you can't make those thoughts go away. Like if something comes up and I think, oh, I don't know if I can do that, I can't make that go away. But then I can also talk to myself and say, hey, wait, no, you can. Look at all you've done, and kind of back it up with a lot of positive affirmations that make that negative thought a lot smaller.
Sure. I think and I've said this before, but when the pressure hits, we lose perspective, and we're like, I can't do this, and it's like, wait, I do this every day in practice. I do this every day, I have it and it's really knowing you're there, right? And saying, okay, it's not going to just go away, right? It's there, I accept it, I'm aware of it. Now let me speak some perspective to it.
Yeah, and actually that's one of the things that I've been blessed with here at Tennessee is we have so many resources that we've been taught how to deal with that. We can go, when we have a negative thought or when we think we can't do something, we can go to our breathing, or we can go to all our visualization. So we have tools to kind of combat those thoughts.
Okay. So out of that stuff that you've learned, is there something that just really works for you? Is it different every time?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the situation.
Okay.
I personally love visualization.
Okay.
So I love imagining like a perfect race, even though it's never going to go that way. For me, that brings me peace.
Okay.
Or I like to just tell myself a Bible verse, or, God is with me. Just a couple words that will give me ultimate peace and kind of just silence the negativity.
Yeah. So let me ask you real quick about the visualization, because I know there's a lot of people out there. I get asked that question all the time, if it works, if they should try it. I think everybody should try it, but I think also everyone should know it doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
You gotta, whatever, works for you. It actually made me more nervous.
Yeah.
But if it works for you, great. So talk to me, when do you do it?
Well, I kind of do it all the time. I love swimming, so I think about swimming a lot. But if we have a meet coming up and I'm home and I have free time, I'll just sit and visualize my race. We have Dr. Joe Whitney. He comes in before practice, and we'll do some visualization with him right before practice, like 10 minutes before.
Okay.
So that's great. But really just whenever I'm feeling like a little anxious about my swimming, it just brings me peace, and I know that I can go to that. And I think the more, for me, I know you're right, it does not work for everyone. Everyone has to find their thing. But for me, the more I visualize it, the more real it feels.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, well, we're so excited for you. And let me say, obviously with how well your swimming is going right now, 2020 Olympic trials are coming up very soon. So, I got to dig in there, because that's the ultimate pressure, obviously. Yeah. Do you feel equipped for that kind of pressure?
I can actually say I do, which is so exciting, because a year ago I didn't even think that I would ever want to go to the Olympics. A year ago. Yeah, I didn't think that I fit in with that elite group of swimmers. I just didn't think I belonged, but I really trained myself to believe that I can. Like, I've talked to myself every day and kind of trained my mind to know that it is possible. So yeah, I can say that I do believe.
And, you have the success to back that up.
Yeah.
And you're on the U.S. national team. So, what an exciting time to be hitting such an amazing peak of your swimming. So excited for you. So, let's move forward from that. I want to get into, I know I have a lot of college athletes that watch these videos. Freshman year, a little messy, right?
Yeah.
A lot messy for me, a long time ago, but I remember very well. Can you kind of tell me, because I think, and especially coaches, we sometimes forget how hard college is. So you not only have school and classes that you have to pass to stay eligible, right?
Right.
But you have practice, and swimmers, you're doing it 2 times a day and on the weekends, and then competitions start. it's a lot. And then you have a social life, and then you're really figuring out who you are away from your parents and, you know, who you want to be in the future. There's so much to it, and it can be so overwhelming. So talk to me a little bit about how you balance life as a college student athlete.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my top stressors, is trying to balance everything in something freshman year that I didn't really know how to handle. But I think for me, I had to break it down. So I'll write everything down that I need to do. And then, you know, once you write it out, you realize you can get it done. It's not that big of a deal.
Sure.
Or I would just go to my breathing. If I feel anxiety about everything that I have to do, I'll just take a minute for myself and just breathe and think about all the things I'm grateful for. So I don't think that you can really make all those things go away. You're still going to have to do them, but you can go to things that are going to make them less stressful.
Yeah.
And for me, a big one is writing it down.
Oh, yeah. Because when it's in your head, it's this big and you're never going to get it done. And then when you get it on paper, it's like, oh, wait, this is doable.
Yeah. And there are so many college athletes. If everyone can do it, then, you know, why can't I?
Good
That's
stuff.
a good thing to tell yourself.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also okay to struggle.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's part of the process.
Right?
You just have to focus on how that's going to make you better, I think.
So talk about those times when you have 3 tests in 1 week, you have, you know, practices, you have a competition that weekend, and just things are really, you know, weighing heavy on you. How do you get through it?
Well, I take it one at a time.
Yeah.
But I have to constantly be telling myself, I can do this. I know I'm going to do well on this exam. I might not have studied as much as I should have, but I'm going to ace it. You know, like, I have a meet coming up and 3 exams, but it's okay because I love swimming. You know, you just have to keep telling yourself positive things, because if you focus on the negative, it's not going to go well.
Sure.
But I mean, it is hard, and some days it's hard to tell yourself that it's going to be okay and you're going to do great. But if you keep pushing and keep persevering, it's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think because, you know, I don't do fluff on this show, right? I don't like it, and it's like seeing you and hearing you right now, like, it is practice.
It
like
is.
This isn't fluff. This is real. This is her, you know, going from, you know, being a mess and you know, and focusing in on the negative, and then deciding this isn't working.
Yeah.
And then practicing it every day. And it's, you know, again, it's not easy every day, but it gets easier the more you do it, and that's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so in the beginning, when I was trying to retrain my brain, when I got back to school my sophomore year, of how can I rework this to make myself happier and the people around me happier too, because I wasn't pleasant to be around if you're unhappy all the time. But it was hard. It wasn't easy the first couple months. You know, I had a lot more days that were harder than easier. But the more I practiced it, the easier it became, and the more normal it felt.
Yeah. And I feel like I need to say, like, she wasn't happy. Yeah. And instead of saying, I'm staying here, this is just what it is, she wanted something to change. But she has supportive parents. She has supportive family. And I know everybody out there, it may not be easy for you to go to family. So find somebody. Find somebody that you trust. Find a counselor, you know, whomever it may be. But talking this stuff out, right?
Yeah.
Admitting, I'm not happy. Because I always say my definition of mental health is being courageous enough to be honest with yourself. You know, because we don't feel happy. No, I'm good, and tap dance around, and yeah, I'm happy. Being honest, it's okay. I'm not happy. What needs to change? Most of the time, you're not going to figure it out yourself. You got to talk it out with somebody.
Yeah, and the sooner you do that, the sooner you will reach that happiness that you're wanting. My whole freshman year, I know I could have come to anyone and told them, but, you know, I didn't. I just kept it inside. and that was a mistake, because there are people, you can find someone.
Absolutely.
So.
Huge. One thing before we move on, you keep talking about this breathing. Are you willing to share kind of what that looks like for you?
Yeah. So we talk a lot about breathing here at Tennessee, and it is something that's really important in swimming too. Obviously, you don't get oxygen when you're swimming. But growing up, I was never really trained how to breathe. You don't really hear that. So I breathe from my mouth, I breathe through my chest. And here we've been taught how to breathe from your diaphragm and through your stomach, and through your nose. And breathing that way relaxes you. Whereas if you breathe through your chest, you're initiating that fight or flight response. But if you're breathing through your diaphragm, you're relaxing your body.
Okay.
So that's kind of why I go to that.
Yeah. I asked because one of the things that I have to do, like if I have a big speaking engagement or something and I'm so nervous, this just happened last week, it's 3 big breaths for me, like in through my nose, like I'm breathing in the good stuff, and then, exhaling the negative, crappy stuff. And that's what really kind of calms me before my big moment.
Yeah, I think it works.
It works for me. It works for her. Try it, If it works, great. If not, then find something else.
Yeah.
Because I believe what works for you may not work for me. What works for you may not work for her. It's really figuring out and being aware of what truly, truly works for you. So, I guess we're coming to the end of our time here. But as you guys know, I always like to end this show with my guest giving a nugget of wisdom. Just something I would love, since, this is your senior year, maybe a nugget of wisdom to everyone out there, high schoolers, maybe even freshmen out there. What is something that you've learned over the last 3 years that's been invaluable to you and really helped you in your college career?
Yeah, I would say if you're struggling, if you're not happy, don't stay in that spot. Know that you will get out of it and you will find happiness. And for me, I had to work really hard at it. I had to find people to talk to. I had to focus on all the things I was grateful for. But you will find that happiness. You just have to keep working on it. You can't give up.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
That's beautiful. And it just made me think, I remember when I started my counseling years ago, I remember I wasn't really doing the work, and she kind of called me out. She goes, "You're not doing the work, are you?" And I was like, "Nope, I'm not," And she said, "When you finally feel worth it, you'll do the work." And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know if I am worth it, which makes me want to cry that I didn't know that, but I didn't know if I was worth it, but I really, really wanted to be. And I started the work, and it changed my life. So I love that. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
As an alum, and I know all my old teammates and alums, we just love all the success that you are having. So excited for 2020, obviously.
Thank you.
Everybody's just super excited. So thank you for being
here.
Thank
you for having me.
Absolutely. And I figured that since we're both Lady Vols, we can go ahead and finish on a Go Vols.
Yeah, let's do it.
1, 2, 3.
Go Vols!
See you next time.